Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, as part of our special coverage of Austin Film Festival's 26th year, I chat with Meta Valentic about her work as an assistant director on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, her transition into development, and much more. It's a great interview, and I hope you enjoy. This is Les for the TV Dudes, and I am here with
Meta Valentic.
I wanted to talk to you a bit about the DGA training program that you were part of and that path towards your current career. I know there's a discussion right now about writer's assistants, particularly in the room, but this pathway to so many of the television jobs can be something that's really only available to folks who can work for a year or two in LA with no pay or with very limited pay. And so no matter what diversity happens in front of the camera, there's an issue with people only trickling up who have trust funds.
Who can afford it.
Yes.
Yep.
And so I'm always interested in any path that involves a training program or someone getting into a program and then it not causing you to go, oh my God, I never want to do this again. But to actually want to continue to do it. And
it's interesting. I got into the DGA training program, I'll date myself, in 1994. It was my first job out of college. So at that time, the research and the resources were a little bit different, a little pre-internet, about like exactly what job is what and exactly what path can lead to. I mean, now it's you can pretty much Google, a path for any given career in entertainment. And back then I thought a producer is someone who's on the set. I want to be a producer. So I am going to go into this program that's on the set. And that ended up being great, but it's not the actual path. I felt like the DGA training program was film school, paid film school for me. And I also think it's great for a lot of different kinds of people because they pay you pretty decently and you get health care when you're on it.
That's fantastic.
So they don't sort of do this, the PAs don't get anything and they get minimum wage. At least they're a little bit better about that in the DGA training program. And so I think they can host a lot of different people there. So I got to understand that while going through the program and then getting out of the program, but I also thought, I'm building a skill set here. I'm building how you actually execute a script on the set and how you work with actors on, both on the just watching the director and the writers work with them and then actually having to logistically work with them. So I just kept doing that. And also once you get into the DGA, the training program gets you in after 400 working days. They pay you really well. And if you're single and you don't have many debts, you can do pretty well. So I did that for a while. And then I just started to dip my toe into creative producing. And I did that through the independent film world in like the late 90s. And it was going pretty well then. And so I was able to sort of pivot over into independent film. But finances brought me back to ADing, so I kind of kept one foot in and one foot in assistant directing and one foot in producing for many, many years. And even just now, 20 to 25 years on, I'm just leaving AD work behind this year, really. I do enjoy it, but it's not, 16 hours a day on your feet is going to take a toll on you after a certain amount of time, and I have a family, and so only now can I really sort of use a lot of the skills I made as an assistant director and my networking that's gotten me to becoming a development producer.
You had mentioned when we were talking over email that you were in the process of this kind of career transition.
Yeah.
What would you define as the job duties of the assistant director? And because, like you said, these things aren't always necessarily clear. Kind of what was the scope of your work as that, and what was the the gap or the missing thing that you weren't enjoying that you wanted to find in development producing?
That's a good question. Assistant directing the team is a very militaristic team designed logistically to move the shoot forward every single day. So whether that's planning the whole thing out in prep, that's usually the first AD and then their team as they're hired on, to when you're filming each day, we're doing this scene, then this scene, then this scene. Okay, what do we need for 2 scenes from now to be ready? And you're continually backfilling what you need to be ready later in your day. And the second AD is actually working on the next day. The second AD is always one day ahead, making the call sheet and making all of the production plans happen the day before you either get to a location or you get to a certain scene, or if an actor's starting on the next day, they have to bring them in for wardrobe and a makeup look and a hair look, things like that. So we're very much in the now or the 1 to 2 days ahead of the shoot. And we don't really deal with the inception of a project at all. In TV, the rotating first ADs, one's on set and one's in prep. So the first AD in prep gets the scripts as soon as the writers can release them to start prepping an episode for 7 to 10 days. But other than that, they're not that involved in the inception creation. I wanted to be involved in that process. I also wanted to be I wanted to find material and then be the person who helps pair that material with the right writer and the right other producers, talent pool, actors, to create a package that then is moved forward into filming. So way early on in the process is what I was more interested in.
You had moved through your career as an AD from Castle, Bones, Lost, Crazy X. Those are not necessarily shows that would all run back to back on the same network, and do a big marathon. Can you talk a bit about the particular challenges that Crazy X brought with the music, the dancing? I can't imagine what extra things there were to prep and think about.
Yeah, Crazy X hired me. It was really, really great. I knew people who were already on the team, and they brought me in specifically to run the music and dance sequences, because we would have 1 to 3 per episode, and they were almost their own world. You'd have this straight up script filming of the script, and then these musical numbers would come in and something totally different would happen. You'd be in an alternate fantasy universe. You'd be you'd be doing a black and white French, impressionist thing, or what, down to big musical chorus numbers. So they needed someone to really pay attention only to that part. Only that part actually had every department on the show involved. So I would support the first AD who was prepping in the office, and I would basically get the musical numbers, either help cast them with dancers with the choreographer's approval, rehearsals, recording the music. The actors actually had to record them in their voice so that we could play it back on set for them when they're filming it, so that then they would lip sync to that. We didn't do a lot of live recording on set. That usually doesn't work out for TV shows. And so I had just all these different departments I was dealing with, and so basically that was a new job for me, and I had never done music before, but the team needed somebody who they thought could handle it, and a bunch of the people on the team had worked on Glee, and it was the model they used on Glee. They had this additional assistant director to help them wrangle that whole process. So I was really lucky to get the job, and then grew into understanding what it takes to put music in front of camera and dancing in front of camera and all that stuff. I kind of learned on the job. But no, my career and the shows I've worked on don't have a ton of through lines. They just have a lot of similar people that I've loved to work with over the years, and have called me up and said, hey, I got a new show. Are you interested in coming on with me? So that's been really nice.
Is that same kind of, you obviously always want to work with good people. You always want to work with people that you get along with. But is that networking part of the impetus of skill set that you have that makes you want to go off and do development producing?
Yeah, I think so. it's a little bit more of control of my own destiny, a little bit, and
make up the project rather than wait to get asked to be on it.
Exactly, and just be a little bit further upstream, in that realm. And I like the big picture stuff. Yes, I can definitely do the on the ground, day to day logistical things that's needed in the assistant directing world, but I kind of like the overall setting the direction of the project as well.
Thank you so much for chatting with me about it all today. I really appreciate it.
Good. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @TVDudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.